Hello student, Jai Swaminarayan. Today we continue with the elements of city planning, unit number 6. Land use. Land use means the use of the land or a plot specified in the town. That means आपके पास एक लैंड है, उसका आप किस किस पर्पस के लिए यूज करते हो, ओके उसको अलग अलग एरिया में डिवाइड करते हैं. दैट इज कॉल्ड लैंड यूज. Various land uses are residential, that is used for living purposes like houses, hostels, lodging, etc. Then commercial, that is shops, shopping centers, marketplaces, etc. Then industrial, used for the factories, mills, workshops, etc. There public, that is used for the government offices, school, colleges, hospitals, assembly halls, libraries, monuments, etc. Monument structures, etc. Then transportation, that is used for the streets, roads, railway lines, airports, seaports. Then waterways, canals, courtyards, etc. Open spaces used for the parks, playgrounds, stadiums, etc. The next one is agriculture, used for the agriculture purposes, that means farming purposes, nurseries, orchards, etc. Vacant, that is barren land. Other uses, that is refuse disposal sites, cemeteries and graveyards. Okay. Next, in land use plan of a particular town or a city shows various zones like residential zone, public zone, commercial zone, residential, industrial zone, educational zone, open and green spaces, then water bodies, railways, etc. Land use consideration, that is, the following points should be considered while preparing the land use plan. First of all, allocation of the area, that is, first of all allocation of the area for a various zones like residential, industrial, public, okay, as discussed earlier, is decided depending upon the type of the town and its activities, okay. The central business district, that is CBD, the location of the CBD is decided, district is decided. Then land prices. Land prices are determined from the land use plan. In different zone, the land prices will be different. Then demography, that means study of the changes in the number of the births, marriages, deaths, etc. in a particular area during a period of time, and population are the two important parameters while deciding about the residential, industrial and commercial zone areas. Then the location of the various zones like residential, industrial, commercial should be considered while preparing a land use plan. Industrial zone should be located away from the residential zone and it's the river direction. First one क्या था wind और second one क्या है reward, that means opposite direction of the prevailing wind. Wind की direction में हमें नहीं रहता है रखना है industrial zone. Commercial zone should be located in the central part of the town. Then next one is natural resources. The location of the natural resources like rivers, seas, lakes, hills should be considered while preparing a land use plan. Then next one is topography. General topography of the region, that is hills, slopes, etc. should be considered while preparing a land use plan. Next, land use planning. The planning of a town according to the use of land is termed as land use planning. The land use planning is an exercise that designated the use of land required for the rural, then urban and industrial development and environmental protection so as to improve the community's physical, economical social condition, efficiency, well-being. It is a systematic, iterative process carried out to create an enabling environment for the sustainable development of the land resources for the social, physical, economic growth of the community. Importance of the land use planning. तो क्यों इम्पोर्टेंट है? ओके, टू गाइड, वो क्या करता है? टू गाइड द यूज ऑफ लैंड टू प्रॉम द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ द कम्युनिटी। दैट मीन्स कोई कम्युनिटी को डेवलपमेंट करना हो तो आपको क्या कर, आपको गाइड करता है। ओके, कम्युनिटी के डेवलपमेंट के लिए वो गाइड करता है कि उसका आप वो लैंड का यूज कैसे कर सकें। To prevent abuse of the land, that means to prevent the formation of the slum, then to fulfill the social, physical, economic goals of the community, to prepare master plan or development plan. It is necessary for zoning allocation of the neighborhood units, to guide the public utility corporations for the design of utilities like water system, sewer, electric distribution, street lighting and gas lining। तो मास्टर प्लान से बहुत कुछ पता चलता है कि लैंड यूज प्लान से बहुत कुछ पता चलता है। ओके, कि आपको ये लैंड का इस तरह से यूज करना है जिससे जो भी कम्युनिटी है उसका डेवलपमेंट हो, जो भी पब्लिक वहाँ पे रहती है उसको प्रॉपरली जो भी चाहिए, जो भी उनकी रिक्वायरमेंट हो वो फुलफिल हो, सबको बिजनेस मिलना चाहिए। दैट मीन सेंट्रल बिजनेस डिस्ट्रिक्ट है कि कोई एरिया है तो वहाँ पे जो भी पब्लिक, फॉर एग्जांपल एक सिटी में ये इतनी पब्लिक रहती है तो उसका भी डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए, नेशन का भी डेवलपमेंट होना चाहिए। तो इसलिए हमें लैंड यूज हम कैसे कर सकते हैं, लैंड को उस तरह से डिवाइड करना चाहिए जिससे ओवरऑल सिटी का, ओवरऑल एरिया का डेवलपमेंट हो। Then land use planning principles. The guiding principles for the national land utilization policy are: human beings are at the center. That means human beings are at the center of the concern for the sustainable development. Then inclusive growth, poverty erection and gender equity. Then balanced development to meet the social, economic, environmental needs of the present and future generations. Okay. Then eminent utilization of the resources and mitigation of the impacts. That means use of wasteland, recycled land, degraded land for the setting up of the project. Integrated or comprehensive development planning. That means planning should be integrated at a national, state, regional and local levels. The states are custodian of the land. The harmonization with existing policies, legislative and regulatory framework. Classification of the land use. The land area in India has been classified in the 9 categories as follows. First one is forest area, second one is area under non-agricultural uses, that means आप वहाँ पे farming नहीं कर सकते। Then barren and unculturable land, okay, यहाँ पे आप कोई भी farming practices नहीं कर सकते, कोई भी crop है उसको grow नहीं कर सकते। Permanent pasture and other grazing land under miscellaneous tree crops, cultivable wasteland, then fallow land other than current fallows and net areas shown. Okay. Forest area. The area covered with the trees, vegetation owned by state or private. Then second, area under non-agricultural use. That was land occupied by the buildings, roads, railways, canals, rivers, etc. Then next one is barren and unculturable land, that is land which cannot be brought under cultivation, that is mountains, deserts, etc. Permanent pasture and other grazing land, that is village common grazing land. Land under miscellaneous tree crops, that means land covered with trees, live hatching grasses, bamboo bushes, then clustering trees and other fluid trees, etc. It is covered. It is not covered in the category net area zone. And next one is cultivable wasteland. The land was taken up for a cultivation but not taken for a cultivation for 5 years in succession. That means land land once taken up for a cultivation, एक बार ही आप लैंड को यूज कर सकते हो, बाद में उसका यूज नहीं कर सकते कल्टीवेशन के लिए, तो दैट इज कॉल्ड कल्चरेबल वेस्ट लैंड. Okay, then it may be either jungle or fallow or land covered with suburbs. Okay, then fallow land other than current fallow. It includes the lands taken up for a cultivation but are temporarily out of cultivation for a period of not less than 1 year and not more than 5 years. Then current fallow, that means the cropped area which is kept fallow during the current year. Net area shown, that means it includes the total area shown with the crops and orchards. And next one is urban land use models. Urban land use models have been developed to understand the overall pattern of the land use in a town or a city. Sociologists, economists, geographers have developed several models explaining where different types of peoples and businesses tend to exist while the urban setting. Various urban land use models are grid model, zonal model, sectorial model, multiple nuclei model, then irregular pattern model. First one is grid model. The grid plan or a grid street plan is a type of city plan in which the streets run at right angle to each other, forming the grids. In the content of the culture of the accident graces, the grid plan is called the hypodomain plan. Then next one is zonal model. This model was the first to explain the distribution of the social groups within the urban area. Based on one single city, Chicago, it was created by sociologist Ernest Bigres in 1924. According to this model, a city grows outward from the central point in a series of the rings. The innermost ring represents the central business district. That means बीच में डेवलपमेंट होता है, फिर जो भी सिटी डेवलप होता है वो बाहर की साइड होता है. Okay, in a series of rings, that means सेंट्रल एरिया है, एक रिंग है, उसमें CBD डेवलप होगा, फिर उसके बाहर डेवलपमेंट होता है बाहर की साइड फ्रॉम द सेंटर, फ्रॉम सेंटर से बाहर की साइड डेवलपमेंट होता है. It is surrounded by a second ring, the zone of the transition, which contains industry and poorer quality housing. That means फर्स्ट रिंग में क्या होता है, CBD होता है, सेकेंड रिंग में क्या होता है, ट्रांजिशन, जोन ऑफ ट्रांजिशन जिसको बोलते हैं, विच कंटेन्स द इंडस्ट्री एंड पुअरर क्वालिटी हाउसिंग, जो भी है उसके रिलेटेड सेकेंड जो भी है जोन ऑफ ट्रांजिशन. ओके, वहाँ पे विच कंटेन्स क्या होता है, इंडस्ट्री और पुअरर क्वालिटी हाउसिंग. थर्ड रिंग कंटेन्स हाउसिंग फॉर ए वर्किंग क्लास. थर्ड रिंग किसके लिए है, तो हाउसिंग ऑफ ए वर्किंग क्लास. फोर्थ रिंग है, that is as newer and larger houses usually occupied by the middle class. Okay, then sectorial model. That means what? This model was proposed by economic Homer York 1939. As per this model, a city develops in sectors instead of a ring. Certain areas of a city are more attractive for the various activities, whether by the chances or geographic और environmental reasons. सब फिगर देखते हैं तो यहाँ पे सेक्टोरियल मॉडल है, बीच में क्या है, सीबीडी है, देन इंडस्ट्री अलोंग द ट्रांसपोर्ट रूट्स, देन ये कौन सा एरिया है, दैट इज ओल्डर इनफॉर्मल हाउसेस इम्प्रूव्ड ओवर टाइम मोर परमानेंट, then this one is called the fuel age, that means recent informal houses, poor quality houses, often self built houses. Okay, ये एरिया कौन सा है? ओके, तो ये एरिया दैट इज हाई कॉस्ट हाउसिंग, लग्जरी फ्लैट्स और डिटेच हाउसेस। तो यहाँ पे क्या है, आप देख सकते हो, आपको एक एरिया रिंग के अलावा जो भी डेवलप्ड एरिया that is industry along transport routes, and this one is high cost housing, ये सब क्या है, रेडियली डेवलप हुआ है, दैट मीन्स इस डायरेक्शन में डेवलप होगा, रिंग के फॉर्म में डेवलप तो हुआ है, बट दूसरा ये इस डायरेक्शन में ऐसे डेवलप होता है। ओके, this model was proposed by economic Homer that city develops in sectors में develop होता है instead of rings. Certain areas of a city are more attractive for the various activities, whether by chances or geographic or environmental reasons. Then multiple nuclei model. This model was developed by geographers Harris and Ullman. Then according to this model, a city contains more than one center around which activities revolve. That means क्या होता है, एक ही सेंटर नहीं होता है, ओके, मोर देन वन सेंटर, एक से ज़्यादा सेंटर होते हैं। आप सिंपली लोग एक सिंपल सिटी में आप लोग तो सीबीडी एक ही होगा, उसके आजू बाजू सब डेवलपमेंट होगा, जबकि इसमें क्या है, मोर देन वन सेंटर। Some activities are attracted to particular nodes while others try to avoid them. For example, university node may attract well-educated residents and bookstores, whereas airport may attract the hotels and warehouses. This one is industrial zone, then transport access, this one is transport access, commercial zone, then सेंटर, ये सेंटर है, ओके, यहाँ पे भी सेंटर है, यहाँ पे भी सेंटर है, यानी एक ही सेंटर नहीं होता, ओके, उसके हिसाब से सब डेवलपमेंट होता है। यहाँ पे इस फिगर में आप देख सकते हो, ये सेंटर है फॉर एग्जांपल, और दूसरा इंडस्ट्रियल एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, उस सेंटर के हिसाब से जो भी है, ओके, सेंटर है, देन एक से ज़्यादा सेंटर है, ओके, तो हिसाब से पूरा आगे डेवलपमेंट हुआ है कि फॉर एग्जांपल इंडस्ट्रियल इस डायरेक्शन में है, ओके, ट्रांसपोर्ट तो के इस डायरेक्शन में है, तो सब क्या है, एक ही सीबीडी नहीं होता है, एक से ज़्यादा सीबीडी होता है। Then irregular pattern model. So it indicates the stage of tradition from village to city. This urban model is due to the lack of planning and construction. This model is very suitable for the ancient cities permanently in Africa and Asia. The next one is housing. Housing is one of the three basic necessities, food, cloth and home, of the life, and is this primary unit of a human habitation. House gives protection against wind, weather, rain, sun, wild animals, etc. It grants protection against physical insecurity of all the kinds. It is also considered as the first unit of the society. All the countries of the world face shortage of the housing. Then it is generally said the housing problem is the result of the industrial revolution. Okay. Then, as a matter of fact, the poor class of society has not been allowed to benefits of the good housing. Development of the slum event, the people and concerned authorities started to accept the responsibility of providing good housing to those who are economically weak and are unable to provide house for themselves. The houses should not only be safe structurally, but also they must also be located and designed that they afford the convenience, amenity, health, social life to the community. Okay. Then this aspect lead to emergence of the town planning. Housing activity has two prolonged effect. It gives a house to somebody to live, serves a source of income to the construction labor. The demand for the houses depends on the following factors. First of all, growth of the population, increase urbanization. क्यों houses चाहिए किस पे डिपेंड करता है वो ओके हाउसेस की डिमांड क्यों है The first one is growth of population. Population के हिसाब के आपको housing provide करना पड़ेगा. Then increase urbanization, town planning of and environmental conditions, availability of the cheap finance, availability of good construction material, availability of the skilled laborers, availability of good transport facilities. Okay, the following factors are the demand for the houses depends. Houses की डिमांड किस पे डिपेंड करती है जो फैसिलिटी अवेलेबल है ओके जो भी पॉपुलेशन है कि मटेरियल अवेलेबल है कि लेबर अवेलेबल है उस पर हाउसिंग कितना होगा वो पता चलता है then availability of the good transport facility availability of the well developed plots at reasonable prices rates of interest or investment government policies to finance housing scheme or else and easy loans then next one is climate condition. Thank you.